AI video enhancement software is everywhere right now, and most of it promises exactly the same thing. Sharper footage, cleaner video, better detail, restored quality cinematic results. But once you start actually testing these tools on real footage rather than carefully selected marketing clips, the results can vary quite a bit. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at Aiarty's Video Enhancer to see what it does actually well, where it struggles, and whether it's generally useful for real-world video work. Firstly, a disclaimer. They did actually reach out to me to ask me to test this tool in exchange for an honest feedback review. This software is a standalone app available on both Windows and Mac OS. The software includes a number of AI-based enhancement tools. There are options for increasing detail, sharpening footage, improving low-light scenes, denoising audio, and also some color and editing related tools built right into the interface. The way this software works is fairly straightforward. You just import your footage, choose one of the AI enhancement models, adjust a few settings depending on the effect that you want, and then the software does its magic and processes the video frame by frame using AI analysis to rebuild and enhance the detail. I found that the processing itself can take quite a bit of time depending on the resolution and the length of the footage, and also depending on the AI tool. The interface is relatively simple, but it took me a little while to understand how to make the changes to the effect I already applied. First, you need to make sure there's a tick next to the effect to actually select it. Then you change in some parameters, and then you click Apply. You'll then see the effect on the clip on the left. If you want to make a change to a parameter, you need first to press the Modify button, change the parameter, and then click Apply again. I find that slightly irksome to keep remembering to press the Modify button first rather than just change the parameter, so I hope that gets fixed perhaps in another future update. Now, one thing that you'll quickly get used to is the fact that you have this vertical before and after line in the top with the preview on the right and the original clip to compare it with on the left hand side. Now, before you get too excited and think you can play both videos at the same time, due to the processing required, if you change the place in the video, you need to wait for it to actually do the inference, which can take quite a lot of time. So the trick is just to zoom in and check a few frames and then make basically an educated guess to see if it looks good before you actually process the rest of the video. Now, after testing it on multiple clips, I think there's one feature here that clearly stands out above all the others, and that's the More Details AI model, which is the one that's default selected right at the top. This is really the core reasons you use the software, in my opinion. In my test, it actually performs surprisingly well in certain situations. Dark footage in particular gains noticeably more visible detail without looking excessively artificial, and text within the footage became significantly sharper and easier to read. On some clips, especially slightly soft and compressed footage, the improvements I found was generally useful rather than aggressively over-sharpened. And that's an important distinction because a lot of AI sharpening tools simply just increase contrasts around edges and then just create halos everywhere. But here, the More Details AI model often looks more controlled than that. Now, I'm not expecting this, but it's just really to my untrained eye. This AI tool not only adds more detail, but can actually upscale clips to a higher resolution. So this is particularly useful if you have a video clip, you record it at a lower resolution than the rest of your footage, and it will look a little bit out of place. So you can upscale the video 2 or 4 times, for example, to maybe 1080p to 4K resolution. But obviously don't expect miracles, and an upscaled 1080p footage to 4K is not going to look as good as a genuine 4K recorded image, but it's certainly going to be better than a low resolution clip. There are still limits, especially if the original video is extremely poor quality, but for moderate enhancement work, especially recover detail in darker scenes and improving softer footage, I thought it did, a respectable job. The next tool I had to look at was the audio denoise feature. The feature for this had a mixed bag of results for me. Its purpose is to reduce background noise in audio. Now, there are plenty of tools out in the world that can do this already, so this had to do something rather special to warrant its existence. I, of course, tried it with a couple of test clips. Now, the first one I had an issue where there's an electrical hum, which could be quite common. I'm not sure how I managed to do that, but somehow I managed to get the electrical hum there. But it's a good test clip. Now, here's a few seconds of that clip.
Hi friends, have you ever thought, how did I get that light so perfect? Well, you're just about to find out. So great photography isn't just about the camera or the lens, it's also about how to control the light. Hi friends, have you ever thought, how did I get that light so perfect? Well, you're just about to find out. So great photography isn't just about the camera or the lens, it's also about how to control the light.
It did reduce background noise reasonably well, so technically the denoising itself does work. But the trade-off was that the voice started to sound a little bit metallic afterwards, I thought. Now, this the kind of artificial texture is something you often hear with aggressive AI audio cleanup. Once you notice it, it becomes difficult to ignore. So while this feature may still be useful in some situations, I personally wouldn't rely on it for important dialogue or professional sounding voice recordings. And I did find other tools like DaVinci Resolve did give a cleaner job and gave a better result. Now the next tools are the color and editing related features. Now these were the least interesting features for me. I didn't see much value there compared to what you can already do inside proper editing software like DaVinci Resolve or any other dedicated video editor, so I didn't really bother spending too much time with them. We then have the frame interpolation tool, which, as the name suggests, interpolates extra frames in between the main frames. So for example, if you film at 30 frames per second, it will make a 60 frame video clip, or even 120 frames for slow motion video clip. So this could be useful if you wanted to make a slow motion clip, perhaps of an action shot or maybe a wedding clip, making it more slow motion. I took a couple of test shots, a wedding clip filmed at 30 frames per second, and also an action shot, so you can see the results here. The next tool is HDR. Now the idea of this is to take any clip which has particularly strong contrast, like very dark areas and then very bright areas, and improve the detail to give the clip a more high dynamic range feel. Now to see the results, you're going to need an HDR monitor. So herein lies the issue with the tool. Most people don't have HDR monitors currently. So neither content creators like myself or audience. Therefore, this tool has little value if you're not going to be able to see the benefit. Now, it would maybe be more useful when HDR monitors become more common, maybe in a few years' time. It would also be more useful the other way around, I think, to convert HDR footage, especially if you accidentally recorded HDR footage, and convert it to normal color. It's quite a pretty tricky process to do it manually, and I would well welcome this feature if it did it in its software. So overall, I think the Video Enhancer is at its best when you focus specifically on the more detailed AI functionality. This is where the software feels generally useful and where I saw the most convincing improvements during testing. If your goal is recovering extra detail from soft footage, improving readability of text, or giving darker clips a bit more clarity, then it can actually produce some fairly impressive results. But I personally wouldn't probably buy it for the color tools or the audio denoise alone. Hope this video is useful, guys, and of course it is, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I got a link in the description, and take care, I'll see you soon.